um, share this out. Let me collapse all this stuff. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm gonna go share this stuff out and let everybody know I'm live. So hang on a second. While I do that, I forget. It's been a while since I've done this. I forget how to share the actual stream, but I guess I'll just share my Twitch page. Okie dokie. Let's see. Where is that? Oh, not plugged in. No wonder I can't do anything. Huh. All right. So let's get this shared out. So hang on a second, guys. Show up. Welcome. My name's Justin Russell. I'm an illustrator, and I'm about to do. I'm working. I'm going to do a few of these Inktober drawings here, and it's pretty much going to be me drawing. I mean, I've got some prompts that I'm going to deal with, and for that I set up prior for Inktober. Now I will say, well, I'll wait till everybody shows up. A few other people show up. There are no viewers right now, so let's not get out of hand. I guess for the rewatch. Okay, so I'm gonna go share this out. So let people kind of gather together, and I'll kind of do a kind of an intro deal here. So let's go to my channel. Let's get that, and let me go to all my places. Okay, hope everybody's having a good one. All right, so drop that. Let's go to IG. Go to the gram. Let's see, where's that? Man, I love watching this cat. If any of you guys haven't found this Orange, the new Black and Tan, this little cat named Finn, he has, I think they call it cerebral hyperplasia, I think it's called. And the cat has like this, it's an orange cat. He has this disorder that he is like a brain disorder, and his brain didn't form correctly, and he shakes. He can't, he has like very poor motor function. And he is he's awesome. He's a really awesome cat. The cat warms my heart every time I see him, and he's like, they post him all the time. He's like a big deal, I guess, but he's really sweet. He's a really cool guy. All right, so let me go to the Inktober deal, and we'll update that. I'll put it in the comments, that way people see it. All right. So as you can see, I do have a drawing kind of prepped already. It was something that I'll explain this in a little bit, but this is something I was already kind of exploring and wanted to kind of do anyway, and I didn't even think about Inktober, so I put it as the first one for Inktober, so it gave me an excuse to get it banged out. All right, so let's see, and then we'll go to How else did I do this? I guess that's probably all. No, I'll go to at least two. And I'm just gonna do this until I get it done. I mean, it's not like it's not gonna be huge or anything. Let's see. Where is my page? All right. Where's that guy? The different formats for these various social media platforms are very interesting. They kind of throw me every now and again. Nope, I just want to go to that post. Yeah, there we go. All right, so live now, son. There we go. Oops, you actually have to hit post. I can't hit enter. I'm conditioned to hit enter to post. All right, so then there's that one. And your water. Might not be a bad idea to get some coffee too, or an energy drink or something. All right, so Yup. Okay, so we'll comment there. All right. So and then that'll be it. All right. All right. So and then I actually have to hit the thing. And let me grab a drink of water because I'm really thirsty. Okay. Alrighty. So the deal with this thing is that I've already kind of started this image, and it was, excuse me, it was started. I'm probably going to be clearing my throat here for a minute. Um, it was started a few days ago just to get the idea down. I had seen the way I usually get ideas for images and for paintings and things. I keep a log of random shapes that I see. So I a lot of times when I look at like cracks in the wall or like moss on the ground, I'm looking out my window now. That's why I say that. Or even shapes in like the foliage, outside the window, or especially like if I'm at the shower at the gym, because I go to the gym a lot. So I see when I go to the shower, I'm always looking at the like weird little shapes in the tile. I like that a lot, and I've seen all kinds of stuff in there. So that is a really big place for inspiration too. So that's where I saw this. And initially, the initial idea sketch for this was, let me go down here. It was more like, and you can see the texture of this, of these lines. That I was using the inking tool already for this, but I've got the pencil tool right now. Um, the initial um, thing I saw, the initial um, texture was or pattern or whatever. It was more like it was actually very close to this. It was very close to this. Only the wings were more out. I think one wing was like way out, and the other one looked like it was kind of bent. It was kind of cool. Or like it might have been bent. It would have been bent too if it were flying, or it would have been more like, which is why I explored this. Only it was in the opposite direction. It's like I had this idea when I saw it. It gave me this idea for a griffin. I called this piece the touch because it looked like this griffin had just leapt, it had landed on this rock cliffside, like flying through the mountains, and then it bounced off and just like it just touched off the side of this cliff. And I thought that was really cool because it was really evocative of motion and everything and energy too. If you're flying this creature around in the mountains, um, yeah, I'm sure there are all kinds of obstacles and things like that. And there, if you've ever listened to people talk about flying in the mountains with small planes, you know that the wind is weird. Like it doesn't work exactly the way you would expect it to. You're the intuitive kind of, unless you know the patterns already, but into the like kind of intuitive way that we imagine wind working, there's a science to it that defies that to some degree, and there's all kinds of unknown danger, kind of like riptides in the ocean, and the way and planes crash in the mountains all the time because they're not anticipating, the pilots aren't anticipating those kinds of sudden updrafts, temperature changes, and things like that that make the air extremely unpredictable in those areas. But the griffins and animals that would like live in the mountains obviously would be able to navigate those types of situations. And a lot of times, like riding a horse, you kind of like let the horse do its thing. You know, so you like would imagine that the rider would just be kind of hanging on for dear life, and the griffin would be, steering obviously, directing its flight, but much of it would be kind of a symbiotic type of situation. I imagine this animal, this griffin, whether it's alone or with a rider, touching off the side of this mountain as it like maybe tries to navigate the drafts and almost spinning. I had this. That's what I was exploring here. Like it had just touched off the side of the mountain, and it was going into like a roll. Like it was. And I actually looked at pictures. It originally started this way, and then I looked at pictures of GIFs actually of hawks in that roll space where they were, diving and about to, go. They were spinning in the air, and that's where I was getting stuff like this, where the wings kind of, I mean, they bend. It's like the wings were, it's very loose kind of roll, and the way that the wings responded to the creature tilting its body, and the wings catching the air. It was very natural, kind of organic um, uh, uh, action, which is what I would imagine this touch off the rock thing situation to be. Which it's like, of course, it would just kind of use the environment um, as a navigation tool, as a flight tool. I mean, everything in its environment is a tool. So that was something that was really important to me. I wanted this to look very like a moment in time, like it just like I wanted the bits of the story. You can see these bits of rock to tell. Oh wow, it's not just flying through the mountain. This is just like in a beer stat where you see those little bits of landscape in the very bottom corners. You get that a lot in beer stat stuff. He does. It's a framing device, and it gives scale and everything. And it'd be a lot of little tiny, like really close details that you wouldn't get in the deeper landscape because you're not that close. So this type of thing, it's more like there's this one bit, and you see the bits and pieces of rock. I actually almost wanted. I'm gonna just choose one because it's a stream, and I don't want to like take forever. Like this is just, I wasn't happy with all of these, but I'm just gonna choose one to work on because it's just get it done. But the and I think it's gonna be this one. Although I really like this too a lot. Kind of like from the bottom up. But so I don't know that a lot of these will work, but for what I'm wanting, I think it's gonna be this one maybe. But we'll see. And but the thing is that I wanted that moment in time when it just like touched off, and I wanted this action is what I'm not happy with, is the distance between the foot, like getting that moment of touch, like that or like just prior, or not just prior, but just post, just after it, So this one is pretty damn close to what I was looking for with that distance, the tension between the rock and the griffin's foot. So I might grab this and maybe try the wings from this one. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, well, you get to see how I constructed it more than you would normally. So this is let's see. So we're gonna how am I gonna do this? Okay, so what we're gonna do is create a new layer. Let me drag this over here. All right. Okay. And this I'm debating. I mean, well, no, I'm not. I like this is going to be something that it's going to be one of those situations where I put this in a setting that I really enjoy dealing with on a regular basis, which is a fantasy world that I've been actually it's the world that I'm using for my GoFundMe right now in my uh, Borderlands project. It's for that campaign setting I'm working on, and there will be slowdown. I'm sorry, the frames, but my computer. I mean, it's not old or anything. It's not like really old, but there will be slow frames and there will be lag. So as the stream progresses, it's going to get worse. So it's hopefully it won't be like awful, but there's that to look forward to, unfortunately. But this is kind of an idea I play with all the time, which has to do with the a group of people that live in the mountains and ride griffins. So this is something that I really enjoy dealing with. Okay, so we're going to steal that. We're just going to play around with this. So we'll take that, and then let me grab this so I don't have to keep scrolling up. Okay, so then we'll do that, and then that's really hard. I like this a lot. I like what's going on in this a lot, but it doesn't convey exactly what I wanted it to. It's not that like really dynamic. It's really cool image. This is closer. I liked that bunched up, kind of like a ball, like it's twisting in the air. You've got that little like missile, like it's where you don't. But there's a lot of it's a small little space, a small little thing. It doesn't take up much space in the image. This is also really damn close. This is really close to what I was looking for. Um, the wings, maybe. Of course, I should have just taken the whole thing. Um, which one am I going to choose? You know what? I am. I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose this one, but I'm going to change it. So, how am I going to change it? Let's have these wings here. You know what? Screw that. Hang on. We're just going to take this whole thing. Wow, I can see it in my head. I can see it in my head. That's what's so frustrating. I can see it in my head. Um, I think it has to be this one. These wings. So what we'll do is we'll do that, and then I'll go down, and this is what I'm looking for in the wings. I want this type of situation. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do that, and then we'll get rid of that, do that, and then we're going to play around with this a little bit. Okay, so okay, so we're gonna drop this out, and I'm gonna blow it up. This isn't for reproduction, this particular thing, the sketch, so I'm not too worried about this particular, because you're not supposed to like really blow shit up in the when you're doing things like this. So we're gonna mess with this a little bit, like the because I don't want that much distance. I want more distance between the wing and the side of the thing. Um, but I like this kind of twirl. So like this energy here. So we'll get rid of that, and we're gonna, just so I don't totally kill this, I'm gonna drop these ones out. Or what I can do, yeah, drop that out. And up here, I like this a lot. I like that. What am I doing? Oh, because it's right there. I should probably label those so I don't confuse myself. Now the thing about, I don't always do this because it's fantasy, but I like to a lot of times. Um, thing about wings is that they need to be huge, essentially, if you're going to be. You know what? This is not going to work the way I want. I can already tell. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do this. Knock that back to about 30%. And then we're going to do that to about 30%. And I'm just going to use these reference points. I'm going to put that right here. And this will be the big one because it's kind of the muddle. And then actually I might even need to drop that back further. Let's go to 15. Yeah, that works. All right. And then I'm going to do a drawing over top just to get the shape. So, oops, there we go. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, just so I know what the hell's going on. And let's see. All right, so now what I liked about this was the idea that this Griffin, I like that looking down on it, and like this dude is kind of hunkered down. The people who ride these things are small. They're little people. They're not huge. And he would be clinging to the back of this thing. it dives, you know, like he's just letting it do its thing. And so I'm going to rearrange. Yeah, it has claws, right? The first legs. So we're going to do that. And I liked. Actually, you know what? No, we're not doing that. I don't like that. Oops. Oh, I'm drawing on a template anyway. Dude. Party foul. Oh, yeah, I can't. Oh, son of a. That's why I did this. That's why I did that. I knew I would do something like that. Okay. Actually, yeah, we'll keep, yeah, we'll get rid of that. And then we'll drop this down to, is that 15%? Okay, and then I'm going to duplicate that. Oops. All right, so what I want instead, and I'm actually going to drop. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I was going to say that's pretty dark. I'm going to drop this down. What I want to do instead is have this, like, you see a guy a little bit more from, like, this is the, oops, like this is the eye level. It's like where he is, where his head is, but he's like all scrunched up on the back of this thing. And it's kind of, it's all like bunched up. Its legs, you know, like it just touched off. But I actually like the idea too. And this is, see, I'm actually going to erase this because I like the idea. And what I really want is this guy kind of twisting. So the guy is this, like, and his body is even responding to the Griffin. So he's kind of like, his legs are all, you know, he's clinging to the saddle. The Griffin is all bunched up. That's its butt. And you have the leg here, which would be really far, like this leg would be up. This leg would be really far down. And you wouldn't even see the Griffin's head, really. You'd see more of its side here, and less its side here as it twists. And you'd see more like this. Yeah, see that? This is what I was having a hard time with, getting this right. You know, and yeah, he's like right here, kind of trying to fight gravity, but also, you know, naturally just kind of riding. So he's just letting the force happen. Well, this thing just, its wings are just kind of bending in the wind too as it folds in. You see, yeah, its legs too long. I still like this idea of it being uh, everything kind of bunched up. I like that idea a lot. Like everything being very, and this is pretty big. I'm gonna knock that down a little bit. It's bigger than I wanted. Okay, so, and I liked, it just leapt off. You probably don't see that leg much. Probably all pushed up underneath. This guy is just bent over. There's the saddle. And then, let's see, how am I going to do this? I liked, I need to remember what I saw in that video. How the one wing was kind of bent and the other one was going the other direction. So it was like, where was that? Yeah, the one they were balancing it out, which is kind of the way I saw it when I initially looked at the. Uh, this is kind of what I saw initially, anyway. It's kind of cool, you know. The wing kind of tilting, and this one just kind of bending in the wind. which would go right off the. But I see that's still too far out. It's almost like I want this to be a little more like it's still, they haven't extended fully yet, which I saw a lot in the videos. Roll. Okay, and the reason I'm not like, going crazy with the eraser or any of that stuff is because I want this to, and we're gonna have his arm out like this. This one's gonna have the reins. And but the reason why I'm not going like super crazy with caring about whether or not the everything looks super clean is because it's just the unstudy thing. So this wings are going to still be bunched up, starting to bend down that side. I'm not too worried about like anatomy at this point, just foreshortening the evocative or the energy of it. I'm not like too worried about all that, all the minutia at this point. I can get that later, and this is just a sketch kind of anyway, just to do something for Inktober. Yeah, so we have that. Yeah, so it's a little tighter, and then you have 1 foot, and I kind of want to. Yeah, this thing is starting to roll. Yeah. Okay, and then we have the cliffside, which I liked. There was this shape that I particularly liked, which is why I kept sticking with it. It was like a little hook or promontory type of thing, and I might put grass there or something. I don't know. We'll see. It's all. But okay, and I like this idea of it being closer. Yeah. Okay, so let's kill that. Now that leaves a lot of space, so might want to do this. Although the image, it was like this. This is what the other thing I was really fighting with was composition, because I like the idea of everything being kind of down, but there's also empty space up here, which, to be fair, I like. I honestly have a natural inclination to think in terms of book covers. So this would make total sense for me to design this way, and why I probably thought of it that way. But obviously this and that would be a perfect place for text at the bottom. So even like text here if there was some sort of whatever that they wanted to add. But there's that. You know, this would be like the sun. I was trying to figure out where I wanted the sun, how I wanted that going on, and what else am I gonna do up here? I liked a lot actually. I think what I'm gonna do is dial back that stuff. Get rid of that. Like he's putting his arm out to catch, to balance himself almost, or herself. Could be a girl, could be a woman. There's that. I really liked the things going on in this, which of course, I can't see anything. So hang on. I actually kind of like what's going on with this like other part of the mountain. So I liked this image. A lot of things about this image, a lot. And honestly, am I gonna do it? I do this a lot when I'm working on sketching, like a million layers as I'm playing with things, and I collapse them all. Okay, so let's see. Let's make this big. The one I was like, I don't know. But it answers the question too of the compositional arrangement. It's just an image, not like a cover. Okay, so I'm going to use this. I'm just going to do this just to move on. Okay, so yeah, and then we'll go to the sketch, and then we'll start just playing. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so we'll do that, and yeah, I like this, like the weird angle of the wings and everything. This come down. Of course, you're seeing it from behind, so this is like the front, which is really interesting. But I kind of like this too. So what I should do is not try and define the feathers and just do. Just have it come down even further. And then have this. Like that. And then I like his body kind of tilting. I like this. Like we'll show the leg maybe right here, and you got some of the undersides. Maybe you have like the legs up, like coming down here. But then you lose. This is what I was saying. I kept forgetting the initial idea, and that usually means I'm trying too hard to. I'm not just feeling it. He's actually sitting up this one, the person. So pretty big brush. Um, yeah. Okay. There we go. We have that. We have this. That's just the elements of the rocks. And then what do we have here? That. It's this back leg, man. Oh, I got it. I just did it by accident. Okay. That's what a lot of the reason why a lot of times I try not to try. I just kind of, cause I feel like my brain knows. That's what I'm saying. Like I was bending my will too hard on this thing, and I wasn't just letting it happen. There's a difference between like letting it happen and responding with what you know to what's happening. Okay. Still. I'm actually gonna bend this guy over just to skosh too. Like he's actually hunched. I like that. Like you can't. Yeah, I like it a lot. Like he's hunched over. This whole ball, you get that sense of like the ball, where everything is like a unit, and his arms bent this way as he's trying to, balance himself. But he's got this arm out, holding on to the reins. His legs will be, there, and then I feel like the two legs up front would be like this, so you'd see it like that kind of deal. How much of underside of this are we gonna see? So we've got the leg, the body. How much of this? No, it's not that much. Our line of sight is gonna be like, oop. It's like up here. It's probably where his head is. Oops. So yeah, we're not gonna see all that. Might see part of the arms or something, but we're mostly gonna be seeing that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because I'm still getting the. Let's grab that. I'm still not getting what I want in terms of. Still not getting what I want in terms of the distance between the rocks. Although this is close, I maybe need to make this bigger. Oops. There's nice tension between the wing and the rock there, but I actually want to overlap. Kind of like this deal. Let's. Oops. Why are you not deleting? Oh, because it's on the feather. I don't want to. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do this. We'll mess with this way. That's kind of interesting. Kind of creates this interesting space. Um, kind of like this. Because then what we'll do is there will be a lot of shadow here. You know, we'll have some like darks and stuff, all that like underneath. This will be, you know, and then this obviously will be backlit. Like so, having the front up here or the sun up here, that will be backlit. So we'll have this shape, and then we'll have the rocks kind of tinkling down, you know, dropping down, and then this will be in light more. Or there'll be some dark here and some dark here probably, but that'll be a little bit more in light. It'll be catching the light. So yeah, this will be front lit. Yeah, yeah. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is open this back up and I still don't. I'm gonna get that roll that I want that I'm not getting. So we're gonna do that, right? Nope. Okay, so what we're gonna do here now is I'm gonna back. Oops. Back some of this off so I can see the drawing underneath. We're gonna multiply that so it doesn't blow out the drawing, just so I know where my darks are. And I don't use this. I mean, this is the similar process I use with everything, but it's not exactly the same. You know, like I use a different situation every time because it's obviously not always the same, but it's yeah. All right. And if you sense a little bit of tension in my voice, it's because I am very stressed out today. I've got a lot going on. There's a concert I want to go to later, and I really want to do this, and you know, there's other stuff going on. I just really, I'm like, I'm attempting to stay relaxed and just take this in stride, but I am very, very stressed out right now. So I apologize for the tension. All right. So let's knock this back. And I can't decide if I want to just like start in with ink, if I want to do some more drawing. I kind of just want to ink it, just see what happens. Let's try that. I mean, worst case scenario is server, right? Where I just like move out of it. Okay, so here we go. So we've got that, and whoops. Okay, so oh yeah, I wanted the. We're just gonna do this with this pencil or pen. I wanted this cloud cover here, which is probably just going to be a shape. It's or a line. It's probably not going to be anything crazy. Um, maybe some of this here too, just as an element. Okay. All right. So this guy, he's going to be all hunched over. So we have that. I would often start drawings like this anyway when I was doing my daily drawings for my old Patreon. Yeah, I want this. His body's going to be kind of. He has those full feathers in his hat or in his helmet. They're going to be glowing, right? No, I don't want to do that. Oh yeah. Okay. And this creature gonna be his leg. Let's see. I debate doing like a solid black background and then making these guys in relief or in that positive shaping, not. And then you have some of that, and then tail, of course, right? I'll play with it a little bit later too. Rock bits, and then you have. I like this being. I like the idea of being very fluid and active, and almost like. I'm thinking, and when I see this guy on the back of this Griffin, I'm thinking of Native American writers. You know, those images, those cool images you see from old classic illustrations. You know, those are really cool. That's really what I'm kind of referencing here, leaning into. Thought about having like a feather or two coming off the Griffin, which would be kind of cool too. But I'm less concerned with the I'm less concerned with the actual anatomy. I'm more concerned at this point with the impression. So I'm not worried too much about, I'm thinking what of the impressions I got when I was watching those hawks, not the actual. I'm trying not to think, oh, this is how a hawk should look. It's like, no, this is the feeling I got when I was watching those hawks. I could imagine myself on the back of one of those things and what it would feel like to be in that role and how, and I don't mean like the role, like, I mean, literally, I guess like the role of being a hawk, but being in the role that it was performing, and what that would be like. And yeah, so there's that too. So then let's get these rocks. So then you see, we've already got that feeling of. I mean, it's very. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's like exactly what I was thinking, pretty much. Only maybe the wings were a little bit more bunched. You get this and this idea. You can see the guy like they're very there's very a lot of energy there, and that's created with these lines. Like that's. I mean, I'm not sitting here going, okay, this is the wing, and there's you know, each feather. It's like no, because when you're in that energy, while watching these things, you don't think of look at each one of those feathers. You can do that, and that's cool too. But in this situation, I want the energy. You know, so let's see. And I'm thinking about lighting too. Right? We're looking underneath this thing, and let's see. I'm gonna do this. I wanted this guy to be kind of loose. The whole thing to be kind of loose until I paint it. I wanted this to be a painting, but this is really just like a study. I thought it'd be fun to get the energy of the ink because I'm very expressive with ink, and I like to play with it. A lot of times I do very gestural drawings like this, and then take them to, and then just play. You know, if I were doing this with traditional media, I would be doing a lot of whiteout or uh, really, really going a lot slower, maybe. But no, I go the same speed. It would just be a lot slower because I'd have to wait for the whiteout to dry, and that sucks. I love the digital format here. It gives me the ability to really let loose in ways that I couldn't, or at least I'd be very, very patient with, which I'm good at, but I'd be very patient with the ink. But I'm gonna stop talking here for a second so I can focus on this because I. I can see this is why I wanted to do this today too, because I am stressed out. I knew as the more you can probably hear my voice getting a lot less tense. It's because this shit really mellows me out. I have to. I have to. It's like being at the gym. The gym does the same thing. I just relax and I get into the zone. And if I'm stressed out, I'm pretty quickly just kind of no longer stressed out. Helps me face my day. And you can probably see the influence here. I am a huge fan of people like Larry Elmore and Keith Parkinson and artists like that, as well as classic Golden Age illustrators. But I get a lot. I looked a lot. I looked at Larry Elmore and Keith Parkinson a lot when I was a little kid, and Dan Bove, people like that, their ink work. So you'll see a lot of their influence here. Plus my own, I've kind of developed my own visual language. You can definitely see it. I mean, it's which I actually think is, in a way, I talked about this before in another stream, I think, a long time ago. I actually think a lot of artists get really butthurt over people telling them, "Oh, you look just like so and so." It's like good, because it's like, man, that means that I look at other art. That means that I have a legacy that I'm following in, right? Like these artists. I mean, I would want someone to say that about like somebody else, like, "Oh, dude, that was like Justin Russell's work." Or that I can tell you, look at his stuff. It's like, cool, man. That means that somebody was inspired enough by whatever I did to want to emulate at some point, and really got inspired by it and made them want to create. I mean, Larry Elmore and Keith Parkinson, I am proud to carry that torch. I mean, that I know I really could care less whether somebody thinks that's stupid or not. I think it's awesome. I would totally want someone to do that for me. To be able to know that my legacy lives on like that. That's so cool. Okay. All right. I mean, I would take a pretty insecure person to go to think, oh, my art doesn't look enough like mine for to be indistinguishable from somebody else. Dude, your work looks different. You know what I mean? It's like your work looks different. You're part of a long line of creatives that have made their mark on the planet. And people are remembering what they love when they look at your work. So get over it. Revel in the fact that you share a common interest. All right. And maybe talk about it. That's a great conversation starter. You know, is, oh, dude, that work looks really, it's like, oh, yeah, I've seen, like, what did you like most about the artist? It's like, what did you, like, what is it, I mean, you could even guide it back if you're that, if you really want to, back to your stuff, you could say, well, oh, cool. Well, what do you, What do you like about my stuff? Like what is it that you think distinguishes it, my work from theirs? I mean, I really appreciate that, but what do you think about my stuff? That's fair. Let's be cool. Yeah. And see, I'm really trying to play the shapes, but still keep some detail. And we're gonna back out of this real quick. See, cool, awesome, totally awesome. I mean, I could probably, and now that I've got the sketch out from behind it, I could probably go back and erase some of this, just and create some impressions of shapes rather than like trying to define everything. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. See, that's what the light's hitting this more than and you get that the rocks that have fallen off, and he's got his hand out. What else did I want to do with this? Some equipment maybe jangling and coming off. Um, oh, the clouds. The clouds. Okay. So the clouds, I'm gonna knock that back even further so I can see even these next lines are gonna really be. They're one of the other things about black and white lines in general is um, the thick and thin quality of the lines creates space. So the further away something is, the thinner the line. So if I were using regular brushes, I would just go for a smaller brush. I'd use a lighter hand and use the very, 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 very tip of the brush instead of like, or just a smaller pen if I were doing pens and do it that way. But, this, I'm going to make it physically smaller. Just tap down and make it. You can see I went from like 70 to half of that. So we're going to go now to do this and wait, what am I doing? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. All right. But I wanted this. I need enough of that line to be able to follow it, so I can still create. But I'm gonna still kind of I'm gonna still do my thing here. I'm not gonna try not to be a slave to it, but just be inspired by it. And oh man, if you're gonna do digital line work like this, um, one of the things that was really interesting and hard for me to kind of get at first was to be confident, because if you're not confident with your pen marks, it like squiggles and it's shitty and it looks really bad. So that's something I'm always really conscious of when I'm doing this stuff. You can see it too. Like, look, I'll zoom in. You can probably see it in some of this stuff too. Yeah, you can see some here. So like if I were at the end of this drawing, I'd probably go in and clean that up a little bit, make make it look more confident. Which inkers do. They go back in and they tighten up their lines. Like some people. But the less I can do that, the better I feel. So and which looks like I don't have to too much on the guy and Griffin and this stuff. Yeah, it's all pretty good. So there's that, and this is all just an impression. It's a sketch essentially. I mean, it's fun. It's energy. That was the whole thing. I wanted to have fun with this. I didn't want it to like be a total drag. You know, and I wish I could play music. Music is so huge to me when I make art. I wish I could play music while I do this because I like when I make art, I'm listening to music constantly. It's kind of weird to just like not listen to anything. I always have music on, always. It's it's ridiculous. You know what? I'm actually gonna. I feel like this needs. Oh, it's gonna be really. You see what I mean, though, about the light and the lines and how everything. See, it's looking kind of busy, which is why I need to add some down here to kind of balance this out. Um, you see what I mean about the space and how things get thrown forward and then thrown back by the thickness of lines. Like here, I was thinking I need to go make this a little thicker even, and you can see. Watch, you'll see it come forward more, since they're not overlapping. These two, this needs to look more forward, which it does now. So there's that, and that actually cleaned up the space. Huh. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. And with an image like this too, I don't want to get too busy. Like the point is to be very. Uh, I want it. Obviously, this is the focal point, and what makes that the focal point is the fact that, and one of the strategies. You see all these lines in this rock formation. That's a lot of busy work. Slightly less busy work, but still busy work. These lines are busy. The cloud lines are busy, but this guy, he is like totally isolated. There's all these like busy lines all over the place, but this one little point is totally isolated in space, surrounded by a positive space, and it's so he is isolated, and your eye goes right there, or right to this shape. So that's what creates that, and then the everything else just supports that. So what I way I've designed it, and I tend to have a very natural sense of composition anyway. That's something that I've always felt, and I think it's because of the way that I experience the world. I just have a very, very natural sense of just, I like feeling. I like romanticism as my favorite art movement and literary movement because it's all about feeling. It's all about expression. It's all about impression. And that's what all of this is. And then you're like, when you're looking at a horse and you're watching it run, or you're watching an animal run or move, and you're just thinking in terms of you're just watching it. You're not thinking about the million different things that are going on in your life. You're just thinking. You're just watching that animal. If you can let go enough to just put yourself in the place of that animal, to put yourself there, to feel the energy, you can adopt that with anything. It translates to the way you make your lines. It translates to everything you do. So that's something I've always looked to nurture, so that I because I like feeling. I like to give that. I like people to be able to look at my work and go, oh man, I can totally like feel that. I'm like there. I know how that. I know what that is, and I've been in that space before, and emotionally, no, I'm not doing that. But so that's that though. I'm thinking maybe touching here. I don't know, like just barely. Mm, no, no, that sucks. No, nope, it needs to be free. That needs to be free. Okay. And what is the other thing I want to do? Do I still want to go down here? Yeah. Uh, this is the underside of the cloud, but I'm going to make a bunch of lines. I'm just going to create a. I want to create just some value down here so that I create some. And I'm going to lengthen it out just so I create some visual interest. That's really all that's about, is creating visual interest. It makes sense because that's where the light works, right? Like because the light's up here. So underside of the clouds are going to be darker. I might even want to, yeah, like just that little bit. It gives. But what I was saying earlier about, I don't want to go too heavy. This is going to be really light. What I was saying earlier about the composition is, and see now it looks more like that. Like that needed to happen, and I might even need to, oops, go in here. Remember I was talking about cleaning up. Go in here and kind of do that a little bit. And that the what I was talking about though earlier, like I keep changing the topic, but the one of the things about composition is you have these elements, and what I do is I am thinking about, okay, it needs to stay isolated, so it's the center of interest because that's where I want people to look, and then but everything else supports that. So I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to do that. This is just the shit that I think about when I'm doing these images. Like your eye goes here, right? And then, but look, you have this line, you have this line, this line, you have this line, and then this too, right? Like coming down brings you back in. And the image itself it spirals, right? Right? All these images, all this energy goes like this right into the dude. So it's everything supports and balances where I want people's eye to go. So when people look at this, people who don't know about drawing, painting, or composition would likely not even, like, they don't know. It's like a magician, right? Like, it's making art is exactly like being a magician. It's like your whole job is to make sure that somebody doesn't that reads in an of course kind of way. That's what makes the magician so amazing is that people watch and they're like, oh my God, that makes total sense, but it makes no sense at all, right? It's just so seamless that how is that even possible? But it makes total sense. And it's the same thing. It's like, everything in the picture is carefully arranged so that you look in a specific place, but everything else is designed to support that. So you know, notice but then notice too, one of the other tricks is to use a lot of detail where you want the eye to go. But in my case, this guy, very little detail, right? What's making him pop out is a different tactic. It's not the detail, because all the detail's here. What's making him pop out is the isolation of this black, dark shape against this white background. And this balances that out, right? Like these heavier lines up here. So the thing that pops him is the contrast. So however you contrast, whatever it is, you know, uh, isolating something versus surrounding it with detail or color or value, whatever, I mean, that's how it works. But yeah. So I'm actually gonna come down here and I can make that 35. Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually gonna create a few more of these lines. I want to kind of taper this off here. Yeah, I want to get a little bit of that so it didn't look, it just ends on his wing. You know. But this doesn't this I'm not worried about detail. I'm not worried about showing the actual rider. What I'm more interested in is just the feeling of fight. Yeah, like that moment in time. And I actually had a professor tell me once in college something that really changed the way I look. I think about it all the time. Changed the way I look at the way I make black and white stuff. It was actually specifically a black and white illustration course. He said when you make black and white illustrations, it's not about what you actually draw. It's about what you don't draw. So that actually creates the image and does all the work in terms of leading your eye and everything. Like, I didn't. I'm not going into extreme detail on any of this stuff. This guy's just a bunch of suggestions, and it's that's all it is. Like, if I yeah. So I do need a little bit more up here though. No, it needs to be, yeah, just a little bit, nothing crazy. Yeah, just enough to this. I feel like that actually needs to, like, I need to be a little looser here. I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of Joseph Clement Cole. I get into these like really small lines, and goo, dude, if you want to see some really kick-ass illustration, black and white illustration, wow, that dude is bonkers. I was really into him in college. His work's like second to none. And the cool thing about him, that the takeaway from him, was actually it was less his technique, which was pretty badass. It was the fact that it gave me permission to grow as an artist watching Joseph Clement Cole. Because the thing that is really interesting about his work is that you see his development over time. You see that in the beginning, when he first started out, he was really, really like anally tight with his lines. Like it was just ridiculous how tight this guy was with his lines, and he didn't express much, but as he got older and he got more experience, you saw him and like just his expression. You really go check him out because his as he aged, he became so much more expressive and and uh, and just energetic. The lines became so powerful. The composition's just so powerful. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like night and day. If you looked at the two guys, you looked at the his early work versus his later work, you probably wouldn't even realize it was him. So there's that too. But so that's pretty much what I want to do with this. I'm not like I got what I wanted out of it. I got the impression. I didn't really, I mean, it's a Griffin. But I didn't feel the need to go. Okay, I need to make sure people know this is a Griffin. You know what I mean? Because it's not about that. It's about. I mean, okay, that's definitely not a bird. That's definitely not a bird. There's a guy on his back. And I think most fantasy people would just automatically assume if you're familiar with that type of animal, yeah, it's a griffin, or it's some sort of creature that flies and has long back legs like this, or whatever. But that's not the point. The point was to create this image that you read and go and you look at it and go, okay, yeah, this is a flying creature with an eye on its back. That's all you need to know. But I know it's a griffin, and most people would probably just know. But so there's that too. And so I'm not like sitting here trying to control the viewer's eyes so much. No, what is that? It's trust. Trust. Like it's like I know what I want to convey, and I trust that the viewer isn't stupid, right? Like it's like I know what I want to say, and I really don't give a shit. Honestly, I think that comes with not caring what people think. but but it's it really is just like yeah I love this idea and I'm just gonna people are smart, they're gonna figure it out, and if not, then whatever. I mean, this is a sketch, and even if it weren't, I mean, I don't know, I'll take the criticism, and if it's good criticism, great. If not, then I'll just take it with a grain of salt. I take everything with a grain of salt anyway. I'm trying to decide I want to keep going here. I don't want to get too noodly on this. I feel like there needs to be something here, though. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't need to make total sense in that regard. I think that's probably it. Although I feel like there needs to be something here. I think I'm making the lines the wrong way. Probably why. Mm. I don't feel too bad about undoing, honestly, in this particular context. I tend not to undo a lot when I'm painting digitally, but when I'm doing these black and white drawings, I think I would just put white out on it. It's not like I mean, I'm not gonna. You have people like John Howe who say never erase anything, which 100% agree with when I'm doing pencil stuff. Or at least when you're drawing initially. A lot of times when I start drawing and doing sketches, I'll just keep drawing and drawing and drawing, draw over things, and just let the drawing dictate itself. And see, now I'm starting to think like it's a painting because I'm thinking of, oh, okay, I want to make this as a painting. But I need to stop thinking about it like that because it's not painting. What I'm going to do is leave it just. It's like I'm wishful here. I'm here going, oh, I want to make a painting of this. But I think if I were going to make it a painting, I would change this even, and I would actually show it from above. I liked this image, but I would actually actually show it from above and in that roll state. It would actually, I really wanted, the image I really want to make is this guy clinging to the back. I really want to focus on the guy and the, or the rider. I want to know the creature, but the creature's secondary almost. But you can, it's still big that you can see the whole creature. But I want the guy to be focal point. You see the guy just clinging to the back of this thing for dear life. And you can see all his equipment, you know, you can see the things that he's carrying, the types of, that give away the type of lifestyle that he has, and what it would take to live up in those high altitudes with these creatures, and you know, that type of stuff. I really want you to take that in. At the same time, it's almost like the role is the first thing you look at. You get the impact of the whole thing first, of this moment in time, but then, which is what I'm trying to capture here, that moment in time. But then, second to that, you hone in on the guy. You know, like once you get past that, you're like, oh shit, this guy is like, I mean, he knows what he's doing, but he's obviously like, I mean, he's clinging for dear life to the back of this thing. So there's, you know, there's that too. So there's a whole story obviously that needs to go in there, but this was the impression I wanted. So I would tilt the camera up so it was on his back, looking more down on the creature, or just tilting him up maybe like 30 degrees. I don't know. I'd see. I'd have to play with this a lot, make a bunch more sketches, but you know, this is yeah. It's one of those where the idea is very clear, but it's going to take a lot of experimentation. Sometimes I just bang it out. It's like I know exactly what I want. I got it first off, you know. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly how I want to do it. It's one of those situations where it's like I just I need to play with it. I don't really understand yet kind of how I'm going to construct it, but it, you know. So yeah. So there's that. So this is pretty much it. I'm happy with this. You know, it gives me exactly what I was looking for. The impression. I, you know, took things a step further than the thumbnails, and you know, if I were gonna, I don't know what, oops, I don't know what I would do in terms of color. I know I would want this to be like a vibrant blue. I love those vibrant blues, the sky. You know, I'm a big fan of NC Wyeth and the Golden Age illustrators like that, especially with their color. That's really where you know, and you would probably see the influence in the clouds when I paint that. But you know, when it comes to color, I really like the primary palette a lot. I like the color, like the vibrance of it. It's really appealing to me. It's very simple and powerful, um, but you know, it can also be modulated so that it's not as simple. But you can play with the color to make it more or less um, bright and vibrant and like childlike versus something more mature. And but I like that. So I would probably be, or I almost could see this happening at twilight too. You know, maybe the sky is like a gradiated, uh, like the sun setting almost. You know, it could be, or late in the afternoon because I want the light up here. It could be late in the afternoon, so maybe the sky, there's like this golden light fusing everything. Could even be that this, and man, what I would probably do with the final is put snow on these. Like this would be snowy, and there would be like not just rocks, but like crystals of ice. You know, like glittering ice and snow blowing off of this. You know, like coming, following, which would actually help this composition quite a bit, I think. Um, you know, touching off and taking some of that snow with it. You know, maybe even some of that. Maybe this is snow blowing off the top of the mountain. There's that kind of stuff really fascinates and appeals to me. So that kind of thing would probably happen. But yeah, so that is pretty much it. And I'm actually gonna, yeah, I don't feel like it needs to be like maybe a little smaller pieces. Like a bigger brush. No, few. There's a rule that I follow. I think it was, oh God, who was that said that? One of my professors told me it was from another artist. It might have been. Maxfield Parrish or something. Um, no, NC Wyeth maybe. Like if you're gonna put something in an image, like stars or something, either go all the way and put like a shit ton of them in there, or put like hardly any. And the um, just because that it's like don't go halfway, right? You either go all in one direction or all in the other. So there's that. That was something that really stuck. So yeah, so that too. But yeah, so that I think this is pretty much. So I'm trying to keep the sparing, right? Like for that very reason, because I don't want to get too crazy. I don't want to lose the point of focus, but I also want to contrast. I also want to create enough visual, enough line elsewhere that it creates that it drives the eye. It still makes this the focal point for very simple. So I can make sure I don't invade this space too much with stuff. So there's that too. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good there. I feel like this needs to be higher, maybe. Oops. What did I do? Did I draw another layer? I, why did I do that? I drew on the marking there. I made a layer to the red. Forgot about that. And see, something like that I couldn't do with. Well, I would just erase it and redraw it if I were doing it traditionally. But yeah, so that kind of thing is a little bit of a spoil. It spoiled me a little bit. But that's okay. Yeah. See, there you go. That was it. That's the touch. That's it. Huh, I didn't even mean it as that. The touch. That's the touch. That's the touch I needed to like finish thing. So now it's done. And yeah, let me put my little Herbie Hancock on it. How am I going to do this? Where am I going to do this? Probably. I want it. Like natural feels like it should be down here, but I have to. Oh, I got it. Okay. One of the reasons I really like having a brush, it's very much like calligraphy thing almost. Okay, cool. Yeah, and we'll, I'm not. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna clean that shit up just a skosh. Make it legible. Not that it needs to be total legible, but there we go. Okay, that's much better. All right, and no. I'd be doing this traditional media too. I go in, I just like I fuck with this so much. And I'm sorry if you guys don't like swear words, but I swear a lot, so that's not going to change. Okay, so let's see, is that I don't want the signature to distract the image, so I have to make sure that little bit where the white touches the black, where there's this little like bit of tension right here. It's not too big. Otherwise, I don't want it to distract. Because I get strung to weird things, man. And just for the same reason that you would use it to draw the eye for a purpose, doing something arbitrarily and creating a point of contrast without point will draw the eye away for the wrong reason. So you need to be careful about that too. And this particular piece isn't about being super detailed. So I'm doing my best to like leave this, even though it's the most detailed thing because of the lines. It's also not detailed in terms of like I'm not putting rocks, individual rocks, or like plants or any of that shit in because this is still the point of interest. If I put too much detail down here, I'm going to distract. I mean, I want energy. I want it to feel like he's not paying attention to the surroundings at all, and it's or he it is, but that's not the point. Like if you're it's blowing by all this stuff, so it's just like blurs of lines, right? In a way, so I'm not gonna like spend too much time on all the little minutia. At least not here. If I were gonna blow it up and make it more detailed and everything, probably, but in some spaces. But I like this a lot in that regard, just being very loose. So there you go. That's this and. The Griffin rider, or Griffin, I guess, was the prompt for today. So that's today, and tomorrow I forget is Thor, and that's Marvel Thor. It's not Thor the God of Thunder. It is, but like not a Norse god, the mythological god. Okay, I'm gonna stop because I could keep noodling on this forever, and it's really not gonna make any difference. Okay, so there you go. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. I am gonna do, I'm gonna do uh, one little thing here, just because this felt like it needed to happen. Okay, okay. I just needed to do that. Okay, cool. All right, so that's good. That. The piece is called the touch, and there you go. So thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. That was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna do all of these. I'm not gonna go in and record all of these like this, but I will do some. So I may not Thor, but you'll know. I'll set up a a thingy, a uh an ad or a like a post. I'll make a post about it, so you'll know. And I'm just recognizing something else. This is drawing the eye a lot because it's isolated as well. And I don't like that. I want eye to go here, not here. So see, this is when you and what I keep doing is looking at see that's much better. If I were really, what I should do is I should do this. I'm not worried too much about like making the lines perfect or anything. I just want to create there. See, I needed that extra detail because this being contrast like it was surrounded by white so much that this lost the focus. So now it's like right on it, and I could even go a little further by creating this and just another thing to like bounce the eye down onto this guy to point to him. So that's the other thing. Everything is pointing to the main point of focus. That's the other thing you can do is create all lines that point. Let's create. Where is that? So like all the lines go right. Even his arm, right? Go right to this dude. So it's like everything goes right there, and that's the that is I do that. So all right, so there you go. All right, yeah. Even implied lines like these open spaces, they also create direction, right? I mean, everything is a line. All these spaces are directional, so they're not you know so everything in this image. That's why all these lines are all this way, because I wanted to create this circular, this motion that follows the motion of the image I wanted. So that's why that worked too. And the shape. You got to make sure it follows the shape of whatever you're wanting to create. So there you go. That's all I've got. And thanks, guys. I appreciate you hanging out, and I will talk to you next time. See ya. Happy Inktober.